Today's weather video, we're going to be talking about the severe weather threat that is happening in the Northeast slash New England and also as well as the Northern Plains, as we are going to be having some storms move through. We are also going to be having a flash flooding risk for the Southern Plains as well. Right now, for day one for severe weather, we do have one slight risk over here in the Dakotas and a little bit of Montana and Wyoming. And we do have a much larger risk over here in the Northeast slash New England area. And for damaging winds, we do have a slight risk over here in the Northeast, but we do have a slight risk plus inside of this slight risk, we will have a hatched risk. So if you are in this yellow zone over here, we could be seeing a 50% wind risk of 25 miles of a point of, damaging winds. And if you're inside the hatch risk plus the 15%, we could be seeing damaging winds, 70 mile per hour gust winds plus happening. And then the hail threat, it's going to be a lot less severe over here in the Northeast. However, we do have a 5% chance over here as well as over here in the Midwest. We also do have a 5% chance happening. We will have a 15% chance happening over here in the Dakotas and Montana again, with a hatched risk that is going to be inside of that as well. So be cautious, because if you're inside this hatched risk, you could be seeing hail, 2-inch plus sized hail possible. Risk is very low, however, it is not zero. We do have a 2% up here at the Northern Plains, and we are going to need to be keeping an eye on that for sure. So make sure you have those warnings that will go off on your phone, especially whenever you're going to sleep. For day two, we do have a very large marginal risk. However, there's no defined area for at least the slight risk yet. I don't know if they will or not, but I think there is a chance, because the stuff that is happening over here in North Dakota is going to be moving east, and so we could be seeing the same stuff happening over here in Minnesota and South Dakota is what we could be seeing. Day three, we do still have a marginal risk over here, kind of in the Midwest section, and then we're going to have another system of storms that are going to be moving through the Rocky Mountains that is going to be moving eastward towards the plains and Midwest. For today, our flash flooding risk is going to be over here in the Southern Plains, so New Mexico and Texas, we could be seeing some flash flooding very possible. We have lots of areas of 5% chances still. However, it is unlikely. That doesn't mean it cannot happen. We have literally 5 different areas of flash flooding risk for today. They might be weak, but again, they can always still happen. Day 2, we do have a slight risk up here in North Dakota and Minnesota. We do have multiple other 5% chance areas. We can also notice that Texas is getting some of that rain, even Florida too. Even from today into tomorrow, we could be seeing a 5% chance of rain. So that flooding, flash flooding threat can increase over here in Florida especially. Day 3, we don't have a 15% chance, luckily. However, that can always change up here in the Great Lakes region slash Midwest. We could be seeing some even down here along the coast of Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, and as well as Florida, we could be seeing some flash flooding possible. Now, late this morning into the afternoon, we can see that we do have storms that are firing up, that are moving through Vermont and New Hampshire through Maine. We do have those severe thunderstorm watches in effect throughout New Hampshire and Maine as I am making this video. Once those kind of move throughout the evening, they will kind of somewhat intensify. That will move throughout. We could even have some rain behind this. Even behind us too, we have these isolated pop-up storms, and any of these could be producing severe weather as well. As we kind of move throughout the late evening, really it's only going to be Connecticut, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, and Long Island of New York. We could be seeing some stuff, and then right around overnight, those storms will be moving through, and then we don't really have to be worrying about much. However, for North Dakota, we could see right as we move through the afternoon into evening, those storms will begin to fire up, kind of throughout, late evening into overnight hours. So this is where it could become a real big problem. And then as we move throughout the night, those storms will move out pretty quick. So this is going to be a quick moving system. It's going to only be here for probably a couple of hours or so. And then, it's probably going to start right around maybe like 10 p.m., maybe 9-ish, maybe earliest. And then once those move throughout, the latest threat we could probably see is like 6 a.m. would be like the latest threat. So your time window would be between 9 to 6 a.m. that we could be seeing severe storms. So make sure you have those notifications on your phone, because you do get reminders about them and then you always forget about them. So right now, if you do live in North Dakota, like over in the Dakotas and Montana, as I'm making this video, make sure you have those alerts on, because they could be life-saving for you. Climate that we're going to be seeing within the for basically the next 6 to 10 days, you can see that majority of the U.S. is going to be in the above average risk for heat in the area I'm circling. However, if you are in like the Midwest and the plains, a little bit of the Ozarks too, we'll be seeing near normal average, even a little bit over here. If you live directly right in the middle of the plains, you might be even seeing below than average temperatures. Next 8 to 14 days, it will still relatively remain the same. Not much of it is going to change. And then the next 3 to 4 weeks, you can see that most of the United States is still going to be above average for heat. Maybe if you're down here in the southwest or southern plains and a little bit the southeast, near normal average temperatures are very possible still. For precip, you can see that over here on the west coast, you could be seeing near normal to drier than average conditions, while over here in east of the Rocky Mountains, we'll definitely see that above average precipitation. And as we move out to the 8 to 14 day risk, you could still see that the eastern part of the U.S. is going to be above average for precipitation. However, over here in the Pacific Northwest, that rain will start to return. And then over here, kind of over the deserts of Nevada and Utah, it is probably going to be staying much more drier. The next 3 to 4 weeks, which I think I talked about in my last video, some of it may change, but some areas over here along the Appalachians, you could be seeing some stuff. So northeast, mid-Atlantic, southeast, above average rainfall. Then over here in Arizona, we actually don't have much data throughout this, because you can see the majority of the United States is kind of empty without anything. This would be like your near normal average, but obviously I do believe this is going to change. And then if you live somewhere central southern Texas, will probably see below than average precipitation. And then currently for drought, we do have a lot of drought, especially happening up here in the northern tier of the U.S., specifically Midwest and West. We are seeing a lot of drought over here, Dakotas, a little bit of Central Plains, and over here in the western part of the country. Florida, we are starting to develop more drought, but obviously with the flash flooding threat that is happening, this can be good for some people over here in Florida. Along the East Coast, some metro areas, they could be seeing some drought happening as well. So we got to be cautious of those. And most of us in the East Coast, however, we're good and we're not on a drought at all. What can we see throughout the next day? Well, we can see that the northeast over here, especially in Maine, New Hampshire, and Vermont, some areas could pick up, up to an inch, maybe 2 inches in some areas. Down here, and especially Texas, we could be seeing, up to 3 inches. Swaths of 1 to 3 inches are very possible. A little bit over here in the Midwest, some areas up to, an inch or two. And then down here in Florida, some areas could also see an inch or two. Could be it for today's weather video. So if you guys want to make sure you see more, make sure you guys like and subscribe, and also share with other people. And I will see you guys next time. Goodbye.